Hello, how's it going? Today we're going to have a look at this machine right here. It is a Korg Delta. I got it recently and it came like this. Let's have a closer look. Yeah, as you can see, there doesn't appear to be anything underneath the front panel. In fact, the circuit board came in this new old stock flash box, and as you can see, it's all hiding in there. Hopefully all of the parts are in here. But yeah, today's video is going to be somewhat of a reverse teardown, hoping it all still works. But I'm assuming it isn't working because surely it wouldn't have been taken apart if it wasn't working. But we're not going to know what's wrong with it until we put it back together, right? So follow along with the journey today of this reverse teardown of the Korg Delta. But first, what the heck is a Korg Delta?
The Korg Delta is basically a cut down version of the Korg Trident, and it doesn't taste very nice. It is a string machine with a synthesizer voice hybrid section. Coming out in 1979 and being produced until 1984, it is in the very same style as the Korg MS range, which was the affordable synthesizers of the time from Korg. But as you could see, this one's a minger, so we need to give it a right old clean because we don't know where it's been.
Now we know what we're dealing with, let's have a look at how many parts it's been left in. Well, what's inside of the box? Let's have a look. We've got the main board, but you'll notice if you look closely that one of the sliders is missing. Hopefully this is the reason why it's been dismantled. If you have a look on the schematic, which you can find on the internet, you'll find that VR8 is the sustain for the envelope generator. Well, luckily I did a post on the Vintage Synth Repair page on Facebook, and Lorenzo Silverio came to the rescue because they had a spare one and I got it for a reasonable price. So hopefully it is the right one, because it was going to be a nightmare to find this if not, because it's a really weird size of fader. Whoa, hey, look at that. Oh, that is amazing. Still got some soldering. Let's just get that off really quick. Whoever did this must have pulled the legs off. Ah, my legs. Let's get all that excess solder off. Oh yeah. Ooh, in goes the fader. Beautiful. Look at that. Let's hope that this was disassembled, because this fader was broken. The person who took it apart removed this and found out they couldn't find a replacement, and then it just ended up in a box. Let's hope that's the only thing that's wrong with it. We've got the joystick panel, we've got the top for this thingamagoop, and we've got a few bags of screws and more screws and knobs and faders. Fingers crossed that's the only thing that's wrong with it, but the only way we're going to find out if that is the only thing that's wrong with it is to put it back together and see what's wrong with it. Let's start by plonking this back on, however that happens. Pop that in like that, I'm guessing. Why this was dismantled is concerning. There might be something else fundamentally wrong with it, but we've got to just figure it out. No, evidently I haven't even looked on the bottom of this before. It must have been owned by the Yakomates. Yakomates? The Yakomates. Actually on this, search up their song The One and Only and have a listen to the string synth in the background. I'm not saying anything, but you never know, it might be this. Look at that. Very nice. Also got to figure out where all of these screws go. Plonky donkey this bit back in, shall we? Luckily this all still looks intact, so let's plonk it in and it goes somewhere over here. How many screws do you reckon are going to be left over after this? I'm going to guess 3. There seems to be a remarkably low amount of these bolts, but hey ho. Right, let's put in the main board and see where we're at. Actually, before that, we've got to put this plate on like so. It's a bit wiggly. Righty ho, let's do this. I'm guessing that one goes there. This is good because they're all different numbers on the connectors. That goes in there. Oh yeah. So now we've got these random stray ones sitting here. Okay, let's get these soldered. Spicy on the old fingers. Why these aren't connected to connectors is a mystery, but a mystery nonetheless. Finally, this took donkeys to find. It turns out there's not many pictures on the internet of the inside of it. Most of them you can't see where the wire goes, but luckily this one you just can make out that it actually goes over to this little blob right here. So let's plop it on. Ho-ho. There we go. That should be everything back together internally, so hopefully, with any luck, that was the only thing that was wrong with it. Ooh. The moment of truth, is there going to be any magic smoke? It's on. No dodgy smells. And Right, let's plug it in and see if it makes any noise. Oh yeah!
Yeah, unfortunately, the filter isn't working the way it's supposed to. As you can hear, it's acting more like a voltage-controlled amplifier, which isn't a filter, is it? So something is definitely wrong. So I tested the voltages, they all matched, and I wasn't initially very sure where to go from there because it sort of worked, but it sort of didn't. So I thought it was dirty faders and dirty pots, but it turns out it was something a lot more sinister. So I took it apart again, and I took the board out and had a look, and it turns out that the filters are based on LM13700 chips. If you've ever heard of those before, they're very popular, and we've covered them a lot on this channel about filters, so I removed those and replaced them because I assumed they might be the things that are buggered. So I put some sockets on there and some new LM13700 operational transconductance amplifiers, and the problem's still blowing there. Let's consult the internet.
We've got Trias lives for gear. I have repaired several deltas with a filter issue where the filter is intermittent and moved between working, semi-working and nearly dead. That's sort of what we got here. In every case, the problem was due to 4 faulty capacitors on the filter board. Been a while, but from memory, it is the 4 poly caps near the VCF ICs. These are the ones that we replaced, by the way. A very unusual fault. I would never have expected these caps to fail. First time took me forever to trace the problem. It was the last thing I expected. Okay, let's have a go at replacing those then.
They were talking about these capacitors right here, and it looked like they were on the power lines going into the LM13700. They're 1 nanofarad, and strangely enough, they were rated for 6 volts, but you know as well as I do that this is plus and minus 15 volts we're playing with here, so we got to replace them.
Right, here's hoping, fingers crossed, we got something running. Let's have a look-see, shall we? Okay, let's turn it on. Oh, nothing. Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you very much, Trias. You saved me an afternoon of headaches. Now it's back together and working. Let's take it out to the museum so we can set it up so people can play on it. Ooh, let's take it. Let's go. Let's go. Johnny, grab it.
What you got?
Grab it. See if we can get in. Go on.
Oof.
Yeah, it's heavy. Go and get it set up.
Alright. Okay, perfect.
Is it not working?
Yeah, no, it's working. It's got strings.
This room right here is a work in progress. It sounds very boxy right now. This is going to be the control room for the whole museum. Looks a little tight, that's because you're over there, but it's going to work in progress. But let's have a closer look at the Korg Delta whilst we're here. It's got a couple of funky things still. For instance, the joystick controller is snapped, but hey ho, what you're gonna do. Also, a couple of the faders, they were missing, so they're not the right faders, but it doesn't matter. So right now we're gonna have a listen to just the string section. Right, so there's nothing. The string section part is very simple. It's over here. It's got an octave balance, and you can select between the 8 foot and the 16 foot and everything in between. And then we've got an attack and release. It's got an equalizer on that part as well, so the lows. Take the lows out, bring them in, take the highs out. And a trigger mode, so you can select between. Oh, there's something really funky, but I kind of like it. And let's have a look at the synthesizer section. It's basically a string synth with a filter when you go to the synthesizer section. So we've got the synthesizers, 16 foot, 8 foot, 4 foot, 2 foot, and a noise. It's got the filter that we fixed earlier. Turn up the resonance. Make it a bit more plucky. Turn it on to multiple. This is a paraphonic synthesizer, so there's only one envelope generator. You'll notice that each note that you add, it triggers the filter again, but you can hear each note being triggered every time. So that's different to a polyphonic synth where each of the notes has its own envelope generator and filter, but you can hear there that there's a different effect going on. You saw the oscillators down here. There was a board here with 3 big chips. That is all of the oscillators over here. Turn up the resonance. Get some vibrato going on. The vibrato is delayed as well. Turn the octave up. Sounds like an angry cat. For the most part, for open sounds, you can get pretty similar sounds from this that you would on a Juno 6 or from the Korg's Poly 6. Problem is when you take your hands off one and you're still playing it, as you saw then, you lose all of the notes that you take your fingers off, which is it's one of the things of the paraphonic string synthesizer section. We've got a band pass as well. And the other thing, because the synthesizer section is on a string synth, well, technically you've got all of these voices that you can play all at once. Then we play both the synthesizer and the string synth. Make it more plucky on the synth. Oh no, the F sharp's dead, that explains it. Oh, we've got more problems. Anyway, that's it for today for the Korg Delta. It's now fixed and it will be set up over at This Museum's Not Obsolete. I'll have a look at that F sharp thing. There is also a MIDI board for it available, so I might have a look at that. But yeah, there's some sounds and riffs that you can download and use from this over on the Patreon. So if you want to support this endeavour and the museum, either come along or support it over on Patreon. But yeah, I'm Look Mum No Computer. This is the Korg Delta. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe, and remember, don't be scared to try it.